We are live. Week 8, Ghost. How are we feeling today?
I actually really like this slate. Very condensed player pool, probably the tightest player pool I've had all season. So I'm really liking this slate. How are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, very, very condensed player pool. It's the week. I think you just kind of look at it. It's like 2 Cooper Cup or 2 not Cooper Cup. I get it. The dude's just on fire every single week. Last week, I just want to talk about that game a little bit. Detroit came out and punched them in the mouth. They scored right off the bat. Then they went onside kick. I think they went up 10-0. That I know I was really heavy on Henderson and Cash last week, as most of the field was, and probably will be again this week. But that really flipped the game script in favor of the Rams just being, all right, Stafford, go beat these guys because we know you could do it. And obviously who benefits the most in a Stafford up-paced game is Mr. Cooper Kupp, because apparently Robert Woods is just a role player. But yeah, I mean, the dude's just breaking every single slate, and it's borderline unfadable. And I don't know. What are your thoughts there?
I don't know if I can fade him in cash games today. I built without him at first, saw the 9K price tag, saw the matchup against Houston. I was like, you know what? It's going to be a modest Cooper Cup game of 16 to 20 points, pretty much, which is going to be likely his lowest scoring output, at least thus far this season. So,
and you could survive that. Like, you could absolutely survive that. You got guys like Stephon Diggs, 900 cheaper, and he's very expensive, dirt cheap on FanDuel. But yeah, I mean, you could, if Cup goes for 20, that's not a good game for Cup, and that is not for any at 9K.
Yeah, that's it exactly. And like you end up like, especially what I do when I build my single entry GPP lineup is I essentially import my cash lineup and then I make pivots from there, right? So that's where I'll get my quarterback to wide receiver 1, hopefully wide receiver 2 stack with a run back option, etc. And I was like, you know what? My first pivot that I made was going Derrick Henry over Cooper Kupp in GBP. And like in GBP, I certainly will encourage the fade of Kupp, because at that point it's like your build just lands way too similar to your cash game lineup, and there's no way that a GPP winning lineup is going to have 40% owned guys. It's just not going to happen in any DFS sport. So I'm not playing him in GBP at all. I'm not multi-entering today. It's single entry as usual for me, and then end up not playing Cooper Kupp in GBP, but I do have him in cash right now just because his ownership has skyrocketed in the last 24 hours, which at that point, not only is it it's a wide receiver 1 in all of fantasy football, but it's also from an ownership perspective, it's very tough to fade, but it's also easy doable. It's easily doable if you want to get off a guy like Dan Arnold in cash, if you want to go up to Josh Allen over Jalen Hurts at quarterback in cash. That would be the way to do it. You don't want to come off a guy like Chris Godwin or Michael Pittman Jr., right? So I'm kind of torn right now. I'm likely going to be toying with my cash lineup up until lock for the next hour 45 here. But right now I have him in my cash lineup, but I'm not playing Cooper Kupp in GPPs. That's for sure. He's on mute.
I press a mute button way too much. I'm sorry. Let's get into this first game, though. Cincinnati at New York Jets. Cincinnati is an 11-point favorite. Joe Burrow, insanely low owned right now. Is this a game script that you want to invest in Joe Burrow? They got an implied team total of right about 27 points. They are top 5 on the adjusted expected team totals tool as well. So a 3 to 5% owned Joe Burrow, that do anything for you?
Yeah, it really does. Seeing him come out this season, I feel like it's it's a very similar jump that we saw from Kyler Murray, right? So in the early stages of his career. So seeing Joe Burrow there at 3 to 5% owned, I get it. The price tag has quickly gone up. Gone are the days of playing Joe Burrow at 5,500 and stacking him with a 5K T Higgins or a 5K Tyler Boyd before Jamar Chase came into town. But now you have Jamar Chase just lighting the league on fire, and that Go Tigers connection is absolutely lethal right now. So I do like it. Their aerial attack really seems to be there, and shout out to the Bengals O-line for absolutely crushing all of the doubters who people were absolutely roasting them in the draft when they didn't draft Penny Sewell. So you know what? I really do like a Bengals aerial attack stack here. I think Mixon gets in the box at least once. And when I say at least, I'm hoping it is just once, because if Mixon is pounding the ball at the 1 every single time, and it's a 2 or 3 touchdown game for Joe Mixon, then I want nothing to do with the Bengals aerial attack, but I don't really foresee it going that way. I think Burrow lights them up. You can fire up Jamar Chase, of course, at all times. This guy's just a big play machine right now. And I really do like T. Higgins in games like this. To no one's surprise, I've been playing T. Higgins for quite some time now, but this is the kind of game where I really increase my T. Higgins exposure, especially when Michael Pittman Jr. is only $100 more. The ownership is likely going to be, I don't want to say ridiculously low, but it's going to be at least in check for a game that he can easily beat these corners that he's facing on.
Yeah, the Jets blitz a ton too, and that should open up a lot of room for guys like Jamar Chase, guys like T. Higgins, even Tyler Boyd. I'm sure can get a lot of room inside on the that defense with the blitz there. But T. Higgins, probably a cash lock for me. The dude's got a 5.5 catch prop. What are the yardage here? I got that up. He's one of the highest values for me. 62 receiving yards, 5.5 catches at 5,200. That's an auto play for me. He's also leading this team in red zone targets. If you like Burrow, I think you have to like Higgins. But if you don't like any of them and you're kind of just unsure, is this a Mixon game? Is this a Joe Burrow game? I think T. Higgins is an absolute lock for me in cash. You mentioned Michael Pittman. We'll get to that game in a little bit. He's way too cheap as well. I think those two will likely be in my cash lineup. And those are, very, very good salary relief pivots to get you a guy like Cooper Kupp if your decision in cash is to play Kupp. I think Isaiah just told the Discord that Kupp is likely going to be the highest owned player on this slate. So in cash, I think both Ghost and I would always say you just follow that, especially when it's the highest upside player and likely the highest floor player in the NFL right now in Cooper Kupp. As much as it pains me to say that, still don't understand how the guy's never covered. On the Jets side, I'm not going back to Uzomah. I didn't play him last week. I know Baltimore's really struggling against a tight end. But, dude, Uzomah's touchdowns were so fluky. That was 2 missed tackles. One of them was Marlon Humphrey, I think, that just literally let him go right by him. I don't understand that. Uzomah's not fast. He's not slow. He's a very athletic tight end. But he
went to tackle him low and just got no weight on it, at all. He just gave himself up and went to tackle him low and just couldn't wrap him up.
Yep. In the box score, though, Uzomah blew it up, and I think he was in the Millie Maker lineup, too. So, that's just proof, again, finding, a 0% owned tight end like Uzomah was last week. That makes sense. But for me, I'm not super high on Joe Burrow. He is in my player pool. I think I have 5 quarterbacks. That's the least amount I've ever played, even with Mageddon last week. But Joe Burrow is always in play. New York Jets defense is actually a lot better against the pass than the other run. So I think Mixon is in a good spot. And then running it back, are there any players that you want to run it back? I kind of like the price on Michael Carter. We saw Mike White start going to get the start for the Jets this week, and that dude is trash. So I think this is a pretty good week for dump offs there to Michael Carter. I think he had 7 or 8 catches last week. It could be worse, but if you want to game stack that, I think Michael Carter will be heavily involved in the check down game from Mike White. And do you got any love for Elijah Moore? He's 3,900. I just don't want to play a pass catcher with Mike White unless it is the dump offs to Michael Carter. But Elijah Moore, I know they use him in multiple different ways. I think he scored on that jet sweep last week. You saw the athleticism there. But is there any warrant to game stacking this, or do you just not want to touch a Jets offense with an implied total of 15 points?
I don't really want to touch it at all, which kind of limits my exposure to Cincy as well. That's the only reason why I don't have Cincy as my main stack, is because of their opponent, right? I don't know how the Jets keep pace here. So, you know what? I do like the Michael Carter call, especially with the amount of dump offs that he's going to see in a positive game script for him, which is going to seemingly be 55 minutes here at least for the Jets chasing points. So I do like him. Elijah Moore's a guy that they have to scheme to get open, right? They don't have an elite quarterback, that's for sure, and they don't have an elite offense period right now where he's going to be open, no matter what route he runs, similarly to what a DJ Moore does in Carolina, right? With Robbie Anderson beside him, and when McCaffrey's healthy, and even with Chuba in the backfield, and Terrace Marshall as well, they have so many weapons there that DJ Moore is just he's seemingly always open over the middle. Elijah Moore's not really going to get that kind of situation as long as he's playing with the guys that he's playing with, but also with the quarterback that he's playing with. So I feel like they have to scheme him to get open, but at that point, I'd rather just go St. Brown to get exposure to Philly, Detroit for the same price. I know he's 39 on DK right now. So seeing Goff last week, he looked like Jared Goff. What is there more to say? But I do like St. Brown over Elijah Moore in that case, because I'll just take the better offense there. I think they'll be able to move the ball with DeAndre Swift a little better, and it'll open things up for St. Brown more so than it will with Elijah Moore.
See ya. Good question here. Like Michael Carter, same game script as a guy like David Johnson, except Michael Carter is good and David Johnson has concrete shoes. That would be my thoughts. I would not touch David Johnson, but the price is intriguing. NC makes a good point. NC is a sharp player. So if you like that Rams game, I'm sure everybody likes that Rams offense. Running it back with David Johnson, to me, is a suicide mission. But at 4,200, you just need like 11 or 12 points. So I get that. But Cincinnati D in an elite spot. I prefer defenses that are usually at home, but there's a lot of defensive value that we'll get to here shortly. But moving on to Josh Allen, going to be around 10%, 10 to 15% owned, I guess, would be my projection this week. I'm seeing 10 on most of the optimizers out there. I think it'll be higher. There's just no reason not to. The guy shreds man coverage, and that is all Miami likes to play. I don't see that going well, and I think this is a blow-up spot for Stephon Diggs. He's going to be under 10% owned on DraftKings on FanDuel. Lock him in your cash game lineups. I think he's 7,300 on FanDuel. That is insane. So, yeah, I don't care about Xavier Howard. No one can cover Stephon Diggs man-to-man, one-on-one. It's just not going to happen. He is too good of a route runner. And then running it back, like, I guess Sanders is in play. Cole Beasley's not going to make my player pool. I don't know. I'd rather just go Sanders and Diggs, if not all Diggs. But Myles Gaskin, I think, is in a really, 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 really good game script spot here. We don't have Malcolm Brown. He went to the IR. And Myles Gaskin eats on that short game passing attack, and so does Mike Gesicki. I don't you know how much I like Mike Gesicki, so you don't need to hear me talk about him. But 1% on Myles Gaskin for a game like this has to be the easiest game script to guess, right? Maybe this or the Rams, but Miami is going to be down points early, and we know exactly how those game scripts go. It's dump offs to Gaskin. It's, a lot of Jalen Waddle in the middle of the field, a lot of Mike Gesicki in the middle of the field and in the red zone and out wide because Mike Gesicki is a wide receiver. But I don't think anybody is talking about Myles Gaskin. I wanted to put him in the GPP article yesterday, but I found 3 guys that I just wanted to write about more. And I don't even know if I put Myles Gaskin as honorable mention, but he certainly is. I think if you just went 10%, 15% in your player pool or in your lineups to Myles Gaskin, especially when it's a Josh Allen Diggs type of build, that makes a ton of sense for me. It's something I like a lot. You got any thoughts on this game overall? Is it just a Buffalo steamroll here? Circle the wagons.
For me, it's a Buffalo steamroll to the point where it's by 21 to 28 points. Like it's going to be that bad. I'm really not a Tua guy. He did have a good game against Jacksonville, but it's against Jacksonville. So
and then Atlanta, and everybody does that.
Yeah, doesn't really do it for me. So seeing this Bills D really adjust on the outside is promising for their Super Bowl run, right? So I really don't think that Tua has the intangibles to be able to, make that second read and be able to find his second option. I feel like it's going to be a lot of Waddle, a lot of Gesicki, and rightfully so. But if they're covered, I haven't really seen much for me to believe that he's able to get to his second or third read there. So I think it's a Buffalo steamroll today, and it's really hard to fade Josh Allen. It's really hard because similarly, what we say about tight ends, when Kelsey and Waller and Kittle are not on the slate, it's like, okay, we're going to Mark Andrews, we're going to Hawk. Like, it's automatic, right? Whereas now with quarterbacks, there's no Mahomes, there's no Lamar Jackson, like there's no Kyler Murray, no Aaron Rodgers. At what point do we just look at this player pool and say, okay, let's just lock in Josh Allen, right? So today can easily be that day. And sitting there at 8,100, I would have paid up to $9K for Josh Allen today. I think he's going to be able to run one in as well. And in a divisional game where he knows this defense inside and out, he's going to be absolutely torching these guys on every single drive. So I really like this Bills offense. Stephon Diggs, we've been waiting for that, Stephon Diggs blowout game. And I think today's the one. Being able to run routes the way that he runs routes, arguably the best route runner in the entire league right now.
He is.
They're playing man coverage on Stephon Diggs. Like that is a recipe for disaster for them. So, and if they're really dropping their safeties back, well, Josh Allen will outrun you. So I don't see how Buffalo doesn't score on nearly every drive today.
Thoughts on Zach Moss then? Because if it is a Buffalo onslaught, Zach Moss is in a very good game script. You got any love for him? More of a FanDuel guy for me just because we don't really see much in the passing game. So on DraftKings, it's like touchdown or bust. I mean, I know that's how kind of FanDuel scoring is as well, but do you got any love for Zach Moss at 5,200 on DraftKings?
It's more so just who he's priced around. I'm not making a lineup without Eli Mitchell today, so I think you feel the same about that. So it's more so, it's just a product of who he's being priced around that I'm not playing Zach Moss. But yeah, I really do think the game script ends up working out in his favor. Seeing a bit more Singletary from week to week, but I think he's going to be able to pound the rock. 50 yards and a touchdown is certainly not out of the realm of possibility there. So it'd be more of a FanDuel play for me where, you pretty much need every single player that you play to score a touchdown for you to take down a tournament there. So Zach Moss would be more so in play on FanDuel because on DK, I'm not making a lineup without Eli Mitchell in my RB2 spot.
Yep, I'm with you. Yeah, and then Buffalo's defense is 3,300 at home. Doesn't make any sense. So in cash, you probably go there and stay there unless you need the savings to get a guy like Cooper Kupp, which we'll talk about now. With the Rams visiting Houston, the Rams are, I believe, a 16-point favorite now on the road. Tyrod Taylor is not back and starting. It is Davis Mills. So the Rams, I mean, I don't know how Houston keeps it close. I don't see how they move the football at all. It should be, Stafford's going to get his. He's going to throw for at least 280 and 2 scores. It's whether or not he gets the third or the fourth. So I'm okay if you want to play that. Typically, I just don't like to play quarterbacks and GPPs. Obviously, let's talk GPP mindset here. Quarterbacks in a blowout script, especially when they have a good running game. So I like Daryl Henderson a ton, whose ownership went from like 35% down to 20%. And I think that was kind of a move up to Mixon once everybody read the reports that he's a full go this week. I know we saw a lot of P. Ryan last week, and I'm sure we will in the passing downs again because Chris Evans is out for Cincinnati. I meant to talk about that earlier. Not like any of you are worried about Chris Evans, but helps Mixon, and it also helps P. Ryan though. So Daryl Henderson, I think this is an absolute smash spot. Looking at his props, what is he? He's minus 220 to score 105 all-purpose yards, 6,500. That, like, you take those props and I put it in the 80 mile on what their price should be. He should be priced around 7,200 to 7,300, right at Jonathan Taylor's price range. So to me, it's just way too cheap. I want to play a ton of Henderson, and that's my game script for LA. I have to pick a side here. It's going to be on the running side of LA. But again, you love Cooper Kupp. If you love Matt Stafford, I don't think anybody would pay $6K for Robert Woods right now. Tyler Higbee is very low owned, so if you want to get different with Stafford and Kupp, because a lot of people have that pairing, throw Tyler Higbee in there. I think Houston is second to last in DVOA against a tight end, so that's a really good spot. And at 4,500 on DraftKings, you just need 40 yards and a touchdown. I think that's a really good spot for him there. Rams defense, super expensive. If I were to play the Rams passing game, I'm personally not. But again, totally get it if you guys want to do it. It's been bulletproof all season long. I think I'm going to run it back with my boy Nico Collins. I think this is finally the week that I play him. He's not going to see much of Jalen Ramsey, if at all. And Nico Collins is the only big playability on this team. I know Brandon Cooks is in a decent spot. He'll get a lot of targets, but he's going to see Ramsey, and Ramsey should eat him up. So I like Nico Collins. If Houston ever does get across midfield and get close to the red zone, I think we see Nico Collins get a red zone target or two at 3,200. Just go get me 9 points, buddy. But again, I'm not playing this passing attack. Do you have any thoughts on this game, or is it just a Rams ass kicking because Davis Mills and Houston certainly are not it?
You need to pick a side today, and it's going to be Henderson, or you need to go Rams passing attack. That's like when you're building.
You want
a
exposure
lineup,
to this offense, I guess.
Yeah, you have to have it in some. You have to have it in some form of way, and I'll even narrow it down even more so to the point where it's like you have to play Henderson or Stafford with Kupp and a second option like Tyler Higbee. I really like the Tyler Higbee call, by the way, because tight end is no man's land this week. I mean, we're seeing a 20+% on Dan Arnold. Like, it's just it is beyond gross this week with no Kelsey, no Waller, no Mark Andrews, no kid. Like it's just it is really gross. The San Fran passing attack just isn't there. Like, Kittle is not having the year that many people thought he would be having. To me, I really do like a 1 to 2% on Tyler Higbee and a very potent passing offense in LA, but you have to pick a side. It's either going to be Henderson or you have to go Stafford with Kupp and a second option, which will likely be Robert Woods or Tyler Higbee. For me, it's going to be, as much as it pains me to say, is because I love Robert Woods. I even have him in all my season-long leagues every single year. I do like Tyler Higbee there at 1 to 2%, because if I'm taking a shot at any position today, it is going to be tight end. because you can't look at any tight end this week and say, wow, this guy's a lock. No. If you look at
not
any
even
one of
Dallas
the tight
Goedert.
there
I think
is
Higbee outscores
no.
Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, like there's nobody that you could look at that position and say this guy is a stone cold lock. Like I have to play him at tight end. Like no, it's
actually
who
there's
you
one
want,
guy.
like
There's one guy. It's TJ
but
Hawkinson or Kyle Pitts. Two.
I do like TJ Hawkinson this week, but it's just that for me would be a spot where I like getting different. So it's either going to be Henderson or Stafford with Kupp and Higbee and or Robert Woods. On the flip side, I don't mind Brandon Cooks, and I'll use that phrasing very carefully where I say I don't mind him. You know, seeing Mark Ingram get traded absolutely infuriated him, and I think he's about done in Houston. I think he gets traded very soon, and going up against one of his former teams where he's been on the other side of this game and he knows what it's like playing for Sean McVay. Like, I really do think that they try and showcase him as much as possible to be able to trade him. So with the big playability that he has, I don't mind it. I just prefer going elsewhere because that is a massive risk, and it's not like you're punting with a 3.5K wide receiver, right? You're paying a decent price for Brandon Cooks, still cheaper than what he should be. But again, it's if I'm taking a shot here, it's going to be Nico Collins or Brandon Cooks, and call it a gut feeling, call it more of a showcase for a trade. He's playing his former team, anything and any which way that you pointed out. I do think Brandon Cooks has a half decent game today.
Okay, that's fair. I'm not on him at all, but I like that you brought it up. Is there any love to David Johnson now that Cia said it? I was like, I don't know. Am I missing something with David Johnson? But his props are terrible. The guy's just bad.
I mean,
I'm not playing. Not doing it.
I think if I had to get like, I'm gonna say if I had to guess because there's nobody that can
20 yards.
Yeah, like it's just I'll say if I had to guess, and I mean it when I say I have to guess because nobody's going to be able to predict this. If you say confidently that this is what's going to happen in that Houston backfield, I don't know. I don't think you can say that you can confidently say anything about this Houston backfield right now. But if I had to guess, it's going to be Philip Lindsay has an early down back, and then David Johnson gets in the passing game where it's like, okay, yeah, what does he like? What's a high ceiling game for David Johnson in the passing game? Catches 4 or 5 balls, like. Throwing 5-yard dump offs when they're chasing 17 points is not going to move the ball downfield, right? So I think he gets, a very modest DK output, but it's nothing that really entices me at all because this is not prime David Johnson with the Arizona Cardinals. He took a massive downturn in the later stages of his career. So it's going to be a hard pass for me. I want more so if I really want to take a shot, it's going to be Brandon Cooks. If not, Nico Collins really can't hurt you today.
Yeah. Oh, it's large field GPP. But yeah, that's kind of the summary today. What side of the Rams are you taking? Because they have the highest implied team total on the slate.
You have to pick a side. You have to go Stafford. You have to go Stafford with 2 passing weapons, or you have to go Henderson. And
I think you can go Higbee one off too.
And you have to pray that Cooper Kupp doesn't put up 45 DraftKings points.
You do. Today is Sunday. It's hey, happy Halloween too, guys. Sorry, it took
happy Halloween.
I'm not a big Halloween guy.
I'm not either.
If you guys watch The Office, like I am the epitome of 3-hole punch Jim. If I had to go to a Halloween party, that's what I would do. Is just 3-hole punch Nick because I'm not a dress up type of guy. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Halloween. Hopefully everybody's got, with the kids, whatever you're doing, hopefully you have a great day, fun day, good beer drinking day, pumpkin beers, whatever. I haven't had one of those, but I'm at my parents' house, actually. Had to go see the nephews this week, but maybe I'll have a pumpkin beer today.
It's not bad.
Is it basic, like a basic girl?
Like,
terrible show. Kick Brian off the chat. What is he doing? That dude.
Who doesn't like The Office? He doesn't like Step Brothers, and he doesn't like The Office. Oh my god!
Get him out! Get him out!
Oh Brian, my god!
Damn, man! All right, moving on to the next game. Now that you've offended my whole adolescence or whatever,
like
I guess
Office?
My teenage years watching that show. But San Francisco at Chicago. Eli Mitchell week for me. He's just too cheap.
Yeah.
And you know how much I love Shanahan, the outside zone. Like, I just respect the hell of him. The guy is going to get 18 touches. I know Hasty's going to come in there, and Hasty will come in the red zone. So I'm not predicting Eli Mitchell get 20 points because I do think Hasty's
I'm full ready for the tilt, by the way.
It's going to happen.
Hasty gets in the box at the 1.
He will, but I do have a prop on Hasty to score a touchdown, so that's my coverage. Like, okay, but that's fine. I'm playing Mitchell to get me 15 points. because what he opens up for the rest of my lineup is great. Like, he is my value guy this week, and I talked about T. Higgins and Pittman. You play all three of those in cash, you'll find ways to get to Cup. You'll find ways to get to Josh Allen. Whatever your move is this week, you could do it. So those three, cash lock for me. My cash threesome, we'll call it this week, is Eli Mitchell, T. Higgins, and Pittman. But any love for Khalil Herbert? I'm just a little bit scared to play him. His props are really strong. Like, they're right there with Eli Mitchell, and the Bears are a top 10 efficiency run offense, like top 10 inefficiency in running the football. And I know San Fran's run D is a little bit better than the pass D. The Bears can't pass the football. If there was any spot for Justin Fields, if you guys want to get crazy in the Millie Maker and play a 0% owned combo of Allen Robinson and Justin
Fields. It's Mooney's
Fields.
Birthday today. It's Mooney's birthday.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So I don't know. I mean, everybody gets a deep ball on San Fran. They may not blow them out. They don't push the pace on San Fran too much because everybody likes to run back and forth with them. But I think Justin Fields goes. I think his passing prop is 188 yards. I'm going over on that. I hate this Bears offense, though, and it scares me. But 188 yards is literally could be 3 or 4 passes on the secondary. So I like that a tiny bit. But other than that, I am all Eli Mitchell. I would love to play Debo, but this just isn't the game script for me or the price tag right now. At 7,200, I think he is. He's out of my player pool, so I can't find him right now. But I think it was 7,200. I would play him if it was like a total of 50, but this total is at like 40 points flat, so that's absolutely gross. But yeah, any thoughts on this game? Again, Eli Mitchell, I don't expect if he goes for 20, that's beautiful. I love it, but I think he gets in the box. I think he gets 60, 70 rush yards. Probably won't get a catch. I'm sure they'll all go to Hasty, but you never know how to handicap Kyle Shanahan. But I know Hasty will have a big factor in this game. So I'd rather go to see his question at 4,200 with David Johnson. I would much rather play JaMychal Hasty because I know the role and I know he's actually a talented football player and still has wheels. So in my opinion, I'd rather trust Kyle Shanahan to figure out his guy's skill set than I don't even know the coach of Houston's name anymore because I just don't ever read anything about that team. They're just out of my player pool every week, besides Nico Collins because he's my boy. But yeah, I'd much rather go to Hasty at 4,300 than David Johnson at 4,200. Never thought I would ever say that sentence on a live stream ever, but here we are.
I really, really like Eli Mitchell this week, and I was happy when I read that in your article.
He's in every lineup I have.
For me, it's going to be auto lock into my RB2 spot, and since I said at the beginning of the show that I'm not playing Cup in GPP with what we said about the Rams, rewind if you have to, but you'll figure out who our RB1 is there in that spot. So the RB1 with Mitchell combo is something that I'm running in single entry today, and I am going to have it in cash as well. That's where I'm getting different. I have, oh my God, the candy. That was actually from the NBA stream too, because Jansen and I were having a
candy corn
debate
sucks.
about candy corn. See, there we go. If you're watching, the gavel's been banged. It's automatic. Candy corn loses. We win this one. But Eli Mitchell for me is going to be in every single lineup, my single entry and my cash games lineups as well. And I do like Khalil Herbert. Look, this is a guy that with triple digits against the Tampa Bay very stout run defense. If he could do it on them, he can really get it done today against San Fran. So I like the RB DST combos today in this game. I'm not touching anyone else. I'm not touching the San Fran passing attack unless Jimmy G is suddenly out of town, because I absolutely despise that guy in NFL DFS. I
think Lance is supposed to dress today too, so you'll probably see a lot of different. Another reason why Mitchell may not get in the box. I think Lance is good to go to play some packages.
Yeah.
If anybody knows that, let us know.
I think I saw the same thing. So yeah, a little Lance RPO for a 7-yard run would not surprise me in the least. And then JaMychal Hasty ends up scoring at the 1-2. But that's okay because Eli Mitchell's going to get at least one. I do think he actually eclipses 100 yards in this spot. And I do like Khalil Herbert on the other side, getting it done against Tampa Bay. That he can really ball. So
he's good.
Seeing him out there, he's very shifty. And once he gets into open space, he is very hard to tackle. So I really do like Herbert. And for me, it's going to be running back if you're stacking this game. But I am 100% okay with just running Eli Mitchell and calling it a day. But I don't want anything to do with either passing attacks. For me, it's just the running backs. That's it.
Respect.
Eli Mitchell and Khalil Herbert week. It's the way to do it.
All right, I'm with it. I'm all in on Mitchell, but I know we're going to get a lot of red zone taken away with Lance and probably Hasty.
Yeah.
But just need a long
Calvin
period for
Ridley's
touchdown.
out, by the way.
Who?
Calvin Ridley is out.
He's out? He's not playing?
Yeah, I think that, like, I'm trying to peek at my phone without looking like a
what?
Like a
when did that happen?
A bad person. Like, I'm pretty sure Calvin Ridley's out.
All right, real quick.
I think that's what I saw on my phone just now.
Brian's question: need a flex 3.5 left for cash. Can't go that low in cash this week. Got to find a different way. Maybe drop Swift down to Chuba Hubbard or something like that. All right. Any other questions? Candy corn is disgusting. Respect that. Judy or Pittman? Pittman for me all day. I don't want to just rush back to Jerry Judy after. Oh, Jamal Williams is out. Ridley is out. What the fuck? All right. Yeah, Ridley out. All right.
You're playing Cordell Patterson? I have to ask.
No. I'm getting off that. All right, next game. My favorite game of the week that has the highest total on the slate and surprisingly very low ownership. I am all in on Carson Wentz. His ownership starting to go up this week. But Carson Wentz, Pittman, A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry is at 10% ownership, guys. Derrick Henry is at 10% ownership. What else do we need to say? Derrick Henry is at 10% ownership. So, Ghost, my question of the day to myself was Cooper Kupp or Derrick Henry. I chose Derrick Henry.
As you should.
That's what I'm sorry.
As you should.
I knew you wouldn't give me a problem. Colts defense is number one in rush defense DVOA. They do stop the run very well, but they also just gave up over 100 yards to our boy Eli Mitchell last week. It was a rain pit, but whatever. It's Derrick Henry. There's no one else on the slate that is going to get 22 plus touches, and that is Derrick Henry. So I love this game. I love A.J. Brown. I'm sure A.J. Brown's ownership is going to skyrocket now that Ridley's out. Man, that is what happened. Is there something personal going on with him? I know he was out for
I said it's I had to confirm. Sorry for looking down there, but Ridley is all I saw was Ridley's out with a personal issue. I just made the switch in my season-long team too. I didn't read much else on that. All I saw is that it's a personal issue and that he's not playing today. So we're expecting a lot of Kyle Pitts. We're expecting a lot of, I know it pains you to hear this, but a lot of Cordell Patterson. And I think Russell Gage actually looked really good last week. And he's a guy that I was all over in best balls. So it's kind of paying to fruition in the later stages of the best ball season right now.
All right. Well, any other thoughts on this Indy game? I think Jonathan Taylor's in an excellent spot, but I love this game. I mean, it's got the highest total, not too much ownership. People still would rather go play Philly, Detroit, which is fine, but I'm playing Derrick Henry, and I'm loving Derrick Henry. Not playing Pascal. Mo Alley Cox, I think, honorable mention to like a large field GPP. If you're on the Wentz train, my only concern here is both these teams like to run the football a ton, but my projection for Wentz graded him at damn near a 3.5 value. Pittman, I think, is a 3-point value. And then Derrick Henry, I didn't actually grade as a value to me at all. I got him for 21 points, but the upside of Derrick Henry is, whatever. I'm just playing the ownership. I'm buying a stock really cheap is how I look at playing Derrick Henry when he's under 9K and under 10% owned. It's the cheapest we've seen him in weeks and the lowest ownership we've seen in weeks. So making it easy. Any other thoughts on this game?
Everyone knows how I feel about Derrick Henry week to week, so I'll skip over that. I do.
You like Tannehill at all or anything?
I do. And we called that little small victory lap here. Again, I'll say small because I'll keep it to a nice 10 seconds. But we did call Ryan Tannehill last week, and I like him again this week with A.J. Brown. And I think you could stack all three together and run it back with Pittman without giving away, too much of the lineup. You could get Tanny with Derrick Henry with A.J. Brown, running back with Pittman, and that would be your main stack. And you have more than enough salary to get guys like Eli Mitchell, get guys like Henderson, get guys like Khalil Herbert, get guys like T. Higgins. If you want to go down to the lower wide receiver range, St. Brown, etc. If you need to punt tight end, Dan Arnold is there, but I'm not playing chalky tight ends this week. But that is going to be my main stack in single entry. I think you can get all three of them together, and it is more than affordable, way too cheap for this Tennessee offense. And I'll have to run this by you when we end the stream and we stay on video for a little bit there as we narrow down cash thoughts there. But you can get a ridiculous lineup with Carson Wentz in cash. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. With the Calvin Ridley news, you can get an absolute bonkers lineup with Carson Wentz in cash. And all I need is for him to somewhat keep pace with likely a 40+% on Jalen Hurts. And I think he can do that for our cash games. So as
to me,
crazy as it sounds,
like he's
when I show you this lineup, when the show is done,
okay,
we're gonna end up doing it. I'm telling you, we're gonna end
all
up
right.
doing
I mean, if there's any bright side, Carson Wentz is 100% healthy. The Colts offensive line is 100% healthy, and we saw him run a little bit last week. Again, kind of the weather probably dictated that you can't throw the ball a ton. In
this
that
game is gonna be tight like a tiger too. So I mean, like you're gonna need him throwing the ball. He's gonna have to make plays. So I like instead of, you know, is Houston going to score on that first drive and then kick an onside kick and go up 14 and then it's Cooper Kupp dropping 45 points on us again? Like you can't predict things like that, right? Like no one saw Detroit not only scoring on their first drive but kicking an onside kick and then making LA chase points in that game all of a sudden. Like I rather go with what Vegas tells us is that this game is essentially a pick 'em. And any offense on both sides of that game is certainly in play. And why not make that our main stack for today? I think that's the route that I'm going to take. And obviously, to anybody that has ever watched a show on Sunday mornings, it's Tennessee for me. No, I'm not playing them in cash. Absolutely not. No.
Cash article's out there too. And we got Adam's game by game. Everything is right there for cash. And I think everybody's in there. If not, Carson Wentz is certainly honorable mention. But speaking of healthy offensive lines, Jack Conklin is back for the Cleveland Browns, and welcome to the Nick Chubb week. I absolutely love Nick Chubb. 6,800, no Kareem Hunt. I do not care about Dearness Johnson. I don't think he's going to see the field too much. If anything, I think Felton will take a lot more of the passing down work. And I believe Nick Chubb's catch prop is at 2.5. I'm sure I'd take the under there too. But if we get 2 catches on Nick Chubb, and especially if it's a screen, because that dude's vision for zone blocking is incredible. So I love Nick Chubb. I know Stobie likes Najee Harris under 10% as well. The Cleveland Browns defense does blitz a lot, which opens a ton to pass-catching running backs. Hello, Austin Eckler. Remember when we loved him that week when Cleveland went to Los Angeles and just that game went absolutely nuts? Same situation here for Najee Harris. I think both of these running backs are in elite spots. I'd lean Chubb more on FanDuel, but I do love him on DraftKings as well, just because, again, the last time this offensive line was healthy, it's right there in my GPP article with Jack Conklin, was week 1 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Nick Chubb went for over 100 all-purpose yards, 2 tutties, and he gave up 47% of his snaps that week to Kareem Hunt. Imagine giving up, let's say, 20% of the snaps now to Dearness Johnson and or Demetric Felton. So this is going to be a heavy Chubb workload, a lot of time off, fresh legs for him, missing that Thursday night game last week. I absolutely love Nick Chubb. And again, Stobie is dead on with Najee Harris. Against teams that blitz, pass catching running backs get a ton of work. Najee's in a really good spot. And I do have a lot of Deontay Johnson this week. I think Chase Claypool is all right too, but for the damn near the same price on DraftKings, I think running it back with Deontay Johnson, I think this game goes well over the total of 42 points. I believe it's at right now. That's crazy low. I don't think this game goes like 50-55, but that's probably one of my favorite bets is the over in this game. And Deontay Johnson with Nick Chubb is one of my favorite pairings for GPP. And with those 3 guys I gave you earlier, using 2 of those 3, the Higgins, the Pittman, the Eli Mitchell, or, Myles Gaskin, if you're playing Josh Allen and you want to get a little Nick Chubb and Deontay in that lineup to get different if you're going heavy chalk, I think that is an excellent way to go in GPP, is that little back and forth. And then welcome to Pat Freiermuth Chalk Week. I had a hard time handicapping him. I know Ebron's out, so he's surely going to get at least 5 targets. It's a good spot for him. But if I don't think this game goes well over, I do think it goes well over the total, but not in the 50s, like a complete shootout. I don't know what to think about Baker and how healthy his shoulder is. Can he pass the ball? That's why I just want to rely on Nick Chubb. and just run it back with Deontay. But I think Freiermuth's a really good run back too at 3,600. You got any thoughts for him? He's getting pretty popular, but Big Ben loves tight ends. I'd rather go to Freiermuth than to probably to Seals Jones and then Dan Arnold as well. Like Dan Arnold at 15%. Cool. As long as it makes your lineup amazing, I'm cool with it. And to me, like I probably do have a lot of Dan Arnold, but I don't love it. It's just because I love the rest of my lineup to get Derrick Henry. So that's kind of my thoughts. But do you like Freiermuth at all?
I do. A little biased because my best friend went to Brooks Prep School with him before he went to to Penn State, and then yesterday I watched the Penn State game. So I am playing Fry this week. Great dude, really funny guy too. So being able to get him in our lineups is certainly an option. I really like the Nick Chubb call. I really do. I think playing a running back coming off injury, a lot of people, the majority of people, will end up not playing that guy at all, let alone consider him. And I think that is the right time to do so. I mean, getting arguably the best natural runner in the league, not the best running back in the league. Don't freak out in the comments on me, but the best natural runner in the league in a divisional game where Cleveland needs this win to keep pace in the division. Right. So with the Bengals at 5-2, the Ravens are 5-2. They look like one of them is going to win the division. One of them is going to be in the wild card. Like Cleveland really needs this win, sitting at 4-3 right now against Steelers. And that passing attack is absolute cheeks right now. Like it is beyond bad. They're just going to pound the rock all game long. And it's going to be Nick Chubb. I think he breaks off a really big run, gets in the box twice, and gets it done in GPPs today. I had ridiculous ownership. I think that there are a lot of good spots to pivot at running back. And just for me, I find it very hard to get off guys like Pittman, guys like T. Higgins. Like I just not like forget the fact that they're relatively higher owned. It's just to be able to get guys like that at the prices that are there. I don't want to force myself to move off guys like that. I rather, pivot off a ridiculously chalky running back to be able to get a guy like Nick Chubb. It's a no-brainer for me. So I do like that in GPPs. I will play Fry in GPPs as well as my little one-to-one stack. I don't mind Deontay. I'm all over Chris Godwin this week. So that's my dilemma right now. I'd rather play Godwin there. But the rest is good. I mean, seeing the total is relatively low. I don't really get too fired up about this game, but I don't see how it goes under 49, to be honest with you. Like the defenses are far from elite right now. And yes, okay, both quarterbacks can easily throw up a dud, but I think this game has a relatively good pace to it. And anytime a divisional matchup is on top in a 1 p.m. game, like it always catches my eye. So I think Chubb and Fryer are good plays in this one. I don't mind Deontay as well. For him, it's the odd man out. Similarly, what we were saying with Zach Moss, how I'm playing Eli Mitchell everywhere. I'm playing Chris Godwin everywhere. So for me, I'm not going to play Deontay all that much, but I do like him as well.
Yeah, it's just more of like a large field GPP thing for me with Deontay. But yeah, load up Nick Chubb. I absolutely love him. Philly, Detroit. All right, Jamal Williams is out. Thank you, Sia, and everybody in the chat. Greatly appreciate that. Swift's ownership is going to go through the roof. I loved him going into this week. I guess you got to love him even more. The whole field's going to love him. It also makes me love Amon-Ra St. Brown a lot more because no one is going to go to him. Khalif Raymond, awesome spot too. You could kill Philly on the inside of the field. I think they average 7 receptions a game to slot receivers. So St. Brown at 0% ownership at 3.9K. Love that. Everybody loves Hurts. All for it. I get it. DeAndre Swift, Devonta Smith, Quez Watkins. Like those are guys in my player pool. Dallas Goedert is in an excellent spot for cash games. I think GPP, I would much rather go to TJ Hawkinson. If TJ Hawkinson, I think, is the best tight end on the slate outside of Kyle Pitts, who's a wide receiver, but we'll get into that. TJ Hawkinson under 10% ownership is criminal. This guy has the second safest floor on the slate, again, to Kyle Pitts, and he's super cheap on DraftKings. TJ Hawkinson's my favorite tight end play on the board, especially if 40% of the field's going to play Swift. Just give me that red zone equity at TJ Hawkinson, and if you're fading Swift in GPPs or something like that, or play them both. Play Jalen Hurts, play Devonta Smith, play DeAndre Swift, and play TJ Hawkinson on the comeback. This game has little to no defense. The total's a little bit low, but I don't really understand that. And I mean, the 80 mile likes it. It doesn't love it, but it likes that Tennessee Indy game a little bit more. But Kenneth Gainwell out of my player pool. I will not touch him. Thoughts on this game?
I'm not touching the Philadelphia running back roulette in that backfield. It's just, that's a no-go for me, especially with all of them priced really $200 to $400 less than Eli Mitchell. It's, again, I'm going to keep repeating myself when it comes to guys like that. It's Eli Mitchell for me. I don't see how I would end up playing a dangerous game with Gainwell or Boston Scott or who else. Like, for all I know, they're going to bring Darren Sproles off the couch and make him run in the box. Like, I just, no, thank you. I do like Jalen Hurts, and I think this is the game where he ends up calming people down to be able to know that he can take the reins on this offense. I get it. We're seeing all this. Well, he's the Blake Bortles garbage time QB and this and that. Look, he's doing what he can, and honestly, I don't think he looks as bad as what people are making him out to look. And I think this is the matchup where he's really going to be able to exploit Detroit. Finally, over $7,000 on DraftKings. We've been questioning that for weeks now. The guy has a floor of 20 points at this point with his running ability, and just his red zone equity is it's very Josh Allen Jr., if I could say so, like that. Like, to me, it's cash game quarterback. You can never go wrong with Jalen Hurts. Devonta Smith's in a really good spot. I'm not playing Jalen Reagor this week, but if you are getting exposure to that Philadelphia passing offense, it does make sense. But I prefer Devonta Smith. And then on the flip side, I do like St. Brown, especially as a punt wide receiver, similar category to Russell Gage there at 3,900 and 4,200 respectively. And I really do like TJ Hawkinson as well. Now, I assume that everyone's going to maneuver their lineups to be able to get a guy like Kyle Pitts in there. All the less ownership on a guy like TJ Hawkinson in a far better game environment, in my opinion. We talk about this in NBA all the time, that an individual player is simply as good as it gets. The only way to be able for him to really hit his ceiling is to be able to get into a good game environment. And I'll take Philadelphia, Detroit over Carolina, Atlanta this week, which makes me love TJ Hawkinson at low ownership. The guy can absolutely ball, and he can run ridiculous routes against these Philly linebackers all day. Yeah, I didn't mention DeAndre Swift, but Jamal Williams is out. He's going to catch 5 passes. He's going to get in the box. He's going to get, I think, well over 100 all-purpose yards too. So DeAndre Swift the ownership's going to be ridiculous, but rightfully so.
Yep. I think this is just an amazing spot now for DeAndre Swift, as the whole field will. But if no one's playing Hawkinson, even if everybody plays Hawkinson, I don't care. He's my favorite tight end play on the slate. Sorry, the heater down here, something's kicking on it. Can you hear that pretty well or no?
Like a little bit, but nothing crazy.
All right, not too bad. All right, Carolina, Atlanta. Well, I don't know what to do now with this game. I'm probably just going to full fade this game, get a little bit of Kyle Pitts, but I think the pace goes down. Like this, the sex appeal of stacking this game went down a ton. I did like Darnold. I did like Matt Ryan. I just don't without Calvin Ridley. Now, DJ Moore is still in a really good spot. I don't think this is going to change the way Carolina plays the football game. Chuba Hubbard, way too cheap and very low ownership. $6K for a guy against, again, a Dean Pease defense in Atlanta that blitzes a ton. We talked about how that benefits pass-catching running backs. That is an excellent spot for Chuba Hubbard. But, man, Kyle Pitts' ownership's probably going to go through the roof now as well, and as he should. I mean, you saw what this dude did without Ridley over there in London, and you saw what Kyle Pitts did last week. The guy is a freak. He is coming on. I know I was so high on him early in the year when he was cheap, and now it's starting to pay fruition, but he's very expensive. What are your thoughts on this game? But Ridley being out just kind of not good for me. I just don't want this game anymore. I want little pieces, Moore and Pitts, Hubbard, and that's it. I'm not playing Russell Gage. Hell no.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about DJ Moore. Kind of hinted at it earlier in the show when I was discussing him, but I really like him against this Atlanta secondary. Like, this is a secondary that we pick on week in, week out, and I get it. Sam Darnold absolutely blows for the past couple weeks. Started out the gate really hot, and now he's back to being Sam Darnold. So the question remains is if he can get him the ball. But for me, I rather bank on that versus is DJ Moore going to be able to be open, because he's going to be able to run ridiculous routes on this Atlanta secondary. And I think that little mini game stack with one of Kyle Pitts or Cordell Patterson it is going to be pretty lethal today. So I'm not full on stocking this game at all whatsoever. There's no way anyone can convince me to do that. But I do like the little 1-to-1 stacks. For me, it's DJ Moore and DJ Moore only on the Carolina side, and then one of Kyle Pitts or Cordell Patterson on the Atlanta side. I do lean Pitts because of how weak tight end is this week, but again, you can't go wrong with Cordell Patterson with the amount of volume that he's going to have.
Yeah, I guess shout out to Patterson too. I'll never play him, but this is a really good week now that he's 6,200. It's probably go time, and if Ghost says it, it's time to do it. So here we go. Moving on to the next game, New England and the Chargers. The Chargers have a 27-point implied team total. The total is right at, I think, 49.5, 50. 5% owned Justin Herbert is probably my second favorite, if not first favorite GPP quarterback on this slate. And I'm going to go back to Keenan Allen. I hate it, but Jalen Mills, I do not respect Jalen Mills. CeeDee Lamb burned him to end that game in Dallas or in New England the other day. You can kill him on the slot, and I think Keenan Allen is just way too cheap for the expected volume in what should be a tight game and a shootout. No Eckler for me this week. I'm just not rolling the dice with a hip injury. I know he's good to go. He's playing himself in fantasy. But running it back with Damian Harris, I like that a ton. I'm not really a Jacoby Myers guy, but if you want to stack this game up, there is no ownership in it at all, literally at all. And Jared Cook, I think a double stack of Keenan Allen, Jared Cook is wonderful. And then if you want a full game stack at Jacoby Myers, honorable mention. But I like Damian Harris a ton at 6.1K against the Chargers defense. I believe is 31st in run defense DVOA and gives up over 5 yards per carry to opposing running backs. You know Belichick knows that, and you know he's going to exploit that. If there's anything to read with Belichick is he goes after the weakness on the defense. He doesn't try to – he changes his offensive scheme every single week. It's not like, hey, we have a Patriots offensive identity and that's what we're going to do. No, they play on the defense's weakness, and that's what they do. And that's what they're going to do today. Damian Harris is in an excellent spot. Thoughts on this game?
I really like Herbert and this passing offense, and I am running it back with Hunter Henry on the flip side. Former team, former Charger. Again, I'm going to keep naming these 1% to 2% owned tight ends because that's the spot where I want to get different. I'll say it again. I'm not fading a guy like Chris Godwin. I'm not fading a guy like Henderson or Kupp, whichever route that you take. I'm not fading Eli Mitchell. I'm not doing that. I'm not fading Pittman. I want to be able to get different today. It's going to be at the tight end spot where Dan Arnold is likely going to be 30+% owned in arguably the worst offense in the NFL. It's a hard no from me. That's my stance I'm taking in GPPs. So I will be able to get some exposure to this Chargers offense. I like Mike Will. I do love Keenan Allen. Again, water is wet and the sky is blue. So we like Keenan Allen on an NFL DFS slate. But I will run it back with Hunter Henry. The volume has been pretty low, but the routes ran per drop back have been very good for Hunter Henry. And that's what we need. We need tight ends that are not blocking. We need tight ends that are running routes that are going to be able to at least have the opportunity to catch a ball. Number one red zone target for Mac Jones in that offense. I really do like Hunter Henry to be able to get in the box today. If it's a low yardage total, I don't care. Just get me a touchdown because that's essentially what you're hoping for if you're not playing Kyle Pitts or TJ Hawkinson this week.
Yep, I am with that. Do you like, real quick, who's I going to talk about? Any thoughts on Eckler? Are you with the fade as well?
Yeah. Again, more so not that he's a bad play. I just can't get there salary wise. I'm again in GBP that we're talking strictly GBPs, not cash. I am playing Cup. GBPs, I'm not playing Cup, so I got to play Henderson per what we discussed in that LA game, and I'm playing Eli Mitchell. I can't get there for Austin Eckler. He's not somebody that I'm running in single entry this week. Do like him playing himself in fantasy definitely gives us the boost. Then again, his RB2 is Damian Williams, so looks like his team's a little shallow, but we'll be able to see what goes on. I really like Herbert in this passing game, and I kind of wanted to run this by you too. I'm curious to see if anyone else had this question there, but a lot of times with my initial cash build, I had Hurts, and then I had $100 more. Would you go Herbert over Hurts in cash?
In cash,
despite Hurts being 40% on.
No, I'd play Hurts in cash, and then go on GPP lineups all Herbert for me there.
Yep. That's
all right.
Move.
Jacksonville, Seattle, I will touch on like 3 players, maybe 4. James Robinson's a really good spot. Looked to be chalk earlier in the week. No one's going to play him. I can't get there. He's not for me, especially now with DeAndre Swift at a full workload. I'm sure we'll see a little bit of Jamar Jefferson or whatever his name is, the backup there in Detroit, but you got to just play Swift and cash, absolutely. And then Alex Collins, 1% owned guy against a really bad run D. He's got 16 touches last week against New Orleans, one of the best run defenses in the NFL. So no one's going to go back to him after the stinker last week, but against Jacksonville, he could certainly get it done. I like Laviska Shenault. If you're in a weird, like, no man's land of under 5K range, picking on Ugo Amandi is something I always want to do. I think Laviska's in a great spot. DK Metcalf, no one's going to play him. You know that Geno could chuck the ball. Whether or not it's going inbounds to the other team in the stands or to DK's hands, we don't know. But
the goalposts.
Yeah, I will. No, Jamal Agnew. No, I'm not touching Jamal Agnew. No. If you got a feeling, or his target share on the 80 model was like 10.5%. So to me, that's a hard pass. I will not go that low. The only reason I'm going to Amon-Ra St. Brown is his target share was like 17.5 to 18. At 39K, that warrants a play for me. But Laviska, man, at 4,700 against Ugo Amandi, I think that's a really good spot. If you need to find someone under 5K, I think he's cash viable as well. Don't love it, but it's something you may need, especially now if you have to get Swift and you have to get Kupp in your cash lineup. I don't know if you need to. I would say probably you should. Maybe that helps you out, but chalk tight end of the week is Dan Arnold at $2,800. Makes a lot of sense because, again, you probably need Swift now. You probably need Cooper Kupp. You probably need, I guess, who else is out there that you have to have? Daryl Henderson, or if you're going Kupp, I don't know. But I don't know. Dan Arnold's probably going to get you 7 points. Like, just be ready for that. Don't expect this guy to blow up. He's going to get 5-6 targets, 3 or 4 catches, 25-30 yards, and good day, Dan Arnold. But if he gets in the box, it's good. And then chalk lineups are going to start passing you. So if you need to go there, that's fine. Just get different elsewhere in your GPP lineups because chalk, and you know how Ghost and I feel against punt chalk tight end, I should say. If it's Chuck Kelsey, I could maybe get onto it. But yeah, this game doesn't have a lot of interest. I think, to me, both defenses are in play. Seattle's a great spot. I don't know if you want to play Trevor Lawrence, but again, like Justin Fields, he'll be 0% owned. So if you want to do something crazy, play Trevor Lawrence, Laviska Shenault, and run it back with DK Metcalf. And if somehow that game goes ape shit, you're going to win $1 million. So that's my thoughts on this game. I think there is a path for GPP success in this game. I'll say that. But I'm not doing that.
I'm not touching this game with a 10-foot pole. Next game.
Well, let's do next game is Washington, Denver, and pretty much say next game as well.
Also next game, yeah.
Yeah, I think, Jerry Jeudy's coming back, 4,900. I'm going to wait and see. I'm not playing him. Cortland Sutton against one of the worst pass defense. Yeah, worst pass defense in the NFL. If you like Cortland, play him. Teddy Bridgewater is actually in a pretty decent spot and graded out surprisingly high. Ricky Seals-Jones, again, a guy that plays 100% of the snaps, a punt tight end that's not chalk this week. That's fine. And no Font, pretty good spot for him. Washington struggles against the tight end, as we saw Robert Tonyan come back to life last week. But to me, it's Washington defense is just 2,100. They never go negative. They get you 6-7 points every single game. It's Teddy Bridgewater who's likely to get benched. But yeah, next game. Last game of the day. Should be an amazing one to watch. I think it's going to be relatively slow to start, but I'm excited to see. I'm not a Jameis Winston guy at all, but I'm excited to see Jameis rally around this crowd to face Bruce Arians. He's going to be motivated. I'd much rather have motivated Jameis at home than on the road back at Tampa Bay, where people could probably just mess with him all game long. But this New Orleans fan base is nuts. They're awesome. I think they're going to rally around Jameis. I think Jameis has a huge day. No one's going to play him. Again, 1% owned type of guy. He won't be 0% owned like Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. Again, don't play them unless you're absolutely nuts and you want to light $20 on fire to put in the middle of your pumpkin that you carved to give it some cool light. That's what I'd rather do with $20. But Jameis Winston, Traquan Smith. I just think Marquez Callaway and Traquan Smith are relatively the same guy. So I'm playing down on 3,900 Traquan Smith, running it back with Chuck, Chris Godwin, but Chauncey Gardner-Johnson on the inside cannot cover, and I am 100% fine if you go to Godwin in cash. To me personally, now that I just had to pivot up to Swift and lock him in cash, I can't play Godwin. I'll just tell you that. But he's in an awesome spot. Mike Evans is going to have Lattimore.
Godwin.
We'll see. But yeah, Elvin Kamara is under 10% owned. And you saw Herbert just run it down their throat last week. I don't think that's going to happen with New Orleans. They did bring Mark Ingram back, who should know the playbook. It's not Joe Lombardi anymore.
They said that he will get they said that he will be involved this week.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this guy says Baker Mayfield. Hell no. Don't play that. No. Total's 40 points in that game, or 42. Just play Nick Chubb. But yeah, any thoughts on Elvin Kamara? I know everybody knows Godwin's in a great spot. We don't need to talk about him there. Evans' ownership is really low, and I like that you said this, Kobe. Like, does it really actually scare me, the Lattimore matchup?
That's exactly what I was about to talk about.
The red zone
only thing that I was going to talk about. It's the only thing I was going to talk about because Godwin's in a really good spot, and you covered that. Jameis in the dome at home, certainly better than playing in Tampa Bay. Mike Evans has so much beef with Lattimore. Like, it is beyond ridiculous. These guys will literally fist fight in the parking lot after the game. Like, they absolutely despise each other. So it's going to be really interesting to see who wins that one. Personally, I give the edge to Lattimore. Right now, I think if Evans moves around, he'll be able to get in the box. But I'm just so invested in Chris Godwin this week. I think he gets absolutely peppered with targets. And I think Lattimore wins the duel against Mike Evans. I think if they're able to move Mike Evans around and get him away from Lattimore, then he'll be able to have a productive game. But if he's lining up one-on-one on Lattimore for 70+% of the snaps, it's going to be a no for me.
Yeah.
Okay. And keep in mind that last week too, just adding to the narrative sauce here, Mike Evans tweeted that he didn't know about Tom Brady's 600 passing touchdown football when he gave it away to the fan.
I mean, how would you know?
And then he said, "My bad." I think he said, like, "I forgot." I think those were his exact words. And then, like, as a joke, then Tom Brady said, "Well, I might just forget to throw you a touchdown pass for the rest of the season." So Mike Evans is getting in the box today. That's gonna just be another classic Tom Brady troll job on Twitter after this game. So I think he gets in at least once, but again, he's going to have to get away from Lattimore to eclipse 100 yards. That's for sure.
Nice. All right. Well, that is my thoughts on the slate as well. I think that Brady's kind of a sneaky play if you want to play him. New Orleans defense is really good, but Tom Brady throws for 3 touchdowns a game.
They can't run the ball. They can't run the ball. So
yeah, I have no interest in Fournette this week. But all right, favorite QB for cash and GPP. You start us off.
Hurts and cash, GPP, Josh Allen.
All right, I will go Josh Allen in cash and Justin Herbert GPP. Running back. Let's go. What do you got?
Cash, I'm going to go Swift. And GPP, I'm going to go Mitchell and Herbert.
Mitchell and Herbert. I'm going cash. Oh, fuck. I got to go Swift. GPP, Derrick Henry, and Nick Chubb.
I would say Derrick Henry. Everyone else is Derrick Henry for me every week, though.
That's fair.
It's a day ending and why.
Wide receiver.
Cash, Michael Pittman.
Okay.
And GPP, I am going with AJ Brown.
Damn it. I wanted to go AJ Brown. Cash for me is going to be T. Higgins, and GPP, it was going to be AJ Brown.
I could switch to DJ Moore if you want.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm going to go Deontay Johnson. I'm riding this Chubb Deontay Johnson. Yeah. No. Well, yeah. Yeah, Stephon Diggs. Man coverage Miami. You talked me into it.
Or Keenan? Going Keenan?
Well, Herbert? you know Keenan if I'm going Herbert.
Yeah, so that's it.
To give you a little bit. I like Deontay Johnson a ton.
Tight ends, I am going Pitts and cash. I'm not playing chalk Dan Arnold, although you can.
I have to.
And in GPPs, I am going with Hunter Henry and Tyler Higbee.
Nice. I like the Higbee call there. Cash for me is going to be Dan Arnold, just because, again, it's fine. He's going to get you 6-7 points. But GPP all day, TJ Hawkinson. Best play on the board.
Yes, sir.
At that spot. All right.
I'm playing Washington DST every lineup. It's min price. You have to do it.
It's gross, but I'd go there,
Absolutely.
Buffalo, and cash and call it a day.
That's it.
All right. Thank you guys for the support. We love you. Happy Halloween. Please hit the like button. I'll hit one question here real quick. What do we got? Let's go Kobe and then Brian. We'll go 2. PJ Tucker Day. Wrong chat.
PJ Tucker. It's never PJ Tucker. Never.
Tom Brady, Henderson, Chuba, Mike Evans, Godwin, Diggs, Arnold, Van Jefferson, Bills. If you're double stacking Brady and they're going nuts, run it back with a New Orleans Saint. So move Van Jefferson to Traquan Smith or drop the defense and move him and Arnold. Do something like that. Cash. Hurts, Jags, or Wentz, Bills. I would say just go Hurts and Washington and then really ride it. Henry. Don't play. You don't need to play Henry in cash, do you?
You gotta go. No, I mean you can, and I was toying with it, but for $100 more, you just Cooper Kupp is going to be 66% owned in cash.
Yeah, go drop Henry down in cash, play Swift, and move.
I still think Henry outscores Kupp, but it's not worth the risk. Houston's going to pull something, and then LA is going to have to throw the ball. It's annoying.
All righty, Godspeed. Happy Halloween.